Hello, everybody. It is me, Pacific, and I'm going to tell you something. You talk about a knockout punch. Wow. I got one today, and you know what? You know what? Let me do that again. That was fun. I got some news today that was a real bang upside the head. Yeah, just like that. And you want to know what kills me? Somebody that I know in Hong Kong that I have great respect for has lost her mind. Get on Skype to talk to one of my friends over in Asia, and she has a picture of a man, a white man, very old, very big, thick neck, clearly quite large. And I said, "Hey, what is this picture that you took your picture down?" She said, "A guy I'm talking to online in the UK," and I thought, "Oh no." I said, "You can do better than that." And this is her words to me: "I have to think about my future." I said, "Are you serious? You're going down so low? You're not attracted to that." "Yeah, but he might have a good heart." I said, "Man, you got kids back in the Philippines." I said, "Why don't you just trust God?" I know my viewers are going to go, "Well, what about you?" Well, I'm not running after some old lady, so I can say this. It is sad, folks, but what I'm about to tell you, for those of you that think it's so much better in Asia, and I did too, it took me time to process stuff, but some of those girls too, they will go after somebody who has money just to have security. And I was shocked. This is somebody I know, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" I was frustrated. I said, "You can do better than that." Oh, what a mind blower, huh? So I was thinking about this stuff, and I was thinking, by the way, a viewer made a comment and said that if you haven't found the right girl by age 10, you better just bag it. I'm assuming that was a joke because there's absolutely no truth to that whatsoever. Wow. I mean, that is a big wow. You know, I just cannot believe the stuff I see. Yeah, like an explosion of events that just happens that takes you off guard. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm having fun with these. Oh my gosh. Oh, and this is for one of my viewers right here. Yeah, there you go. Female, that is. What was I going to talk about tonight? Today I went to lunch with a friend of mine, 28 years old. She's married, not shopping around or anything. Christian woman, white woman, very long, light brown hair, closer to blonde. Very well adjusted. Her father, I know her father very well, and he actually is one of the few males I can point to that really embodies joyful Christianity, hard worker, good, caring man, and I can see where he has had a very positive effect on his 28-year-old daughter, who is very well adjusted, very confident, and does not. She said, "When I was growing up, my parents told me, don't you ever think you're better than anybody else." And I'm amazed she doesn't. She truly is a gem. And why do I mention this? Because sometimes Pacific has to get out in different traffic lanes, if you will. But a woman like her is rare. 28, very mature, very confident, very intelligent. We had a great talk, enjoyed lunch, and just was nice to hang out with somebody who had her stuff together. And I thought, wow, that was pleasant. I did that on my break today. And I shared some things with her about church. I said, you know, the church I go to is so unloving, so cold. I said that it's very good teaching. Because she's a Christian, and she said, she smiled and beamed, and she goes, it doesn't sound like they're really learning anything, does it? I said, no. She said, that's why I really got tired of the whole church culture. She goes, I believe God has saved me and accepted me. And she said, I believe there are things He doesn't want us to do because they are harmful. She said, I'm married, but marriage is work. Marriage is hard. And on those days I don't feel like loving my husband, I still love him anyway. She said, but by the same token, I'm tired of churches that beat people up and guilt people. She said, they talk about the big sins, the sex, the divorce, but they ignore all the stuff they're guilty of. And I said, you know, I just said that a few years ago. Did you hear me say that? Then we had a good talk. And I found myself going, my gosh, should I find another church? I came out of there last weekend going, you know, and this isn't just this place. I find that churches just don't really, I hear the term that Christ, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I find so many Christians in America, including myself, gain a tremendous amount of knowledge. And I said to her, I said, how do we love our enemies? She goes, you can't. You've got to you've got to fully appreciate what God's done for you, and then that will be the natural outflow. I said, that's amazing. We had a good conversation, and it just made me think that maybe I ought to do something that's not conventional. Go to a few churches I probably wouldn't. No, I'm not talking cults. But even out in Aurora and some big churches where there's a lot of people, and just see. My problem is I've gone to big churches, and it's the same old manufacturing plant of seeker-sensitive mush-push. And, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what is the good thing to do. Yesterday I went home. I made no calls to my friends. I made a video, and I went to bed after showering. And I thought to myself, you know what? And my phone's ringing right now. Jinx. 440. Who's 440? I don't know that area code. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, don't you love that ringtone? Here, let me hold that up. Isn't that fun? Cell phones. What a pain in the foot. But hey, I finally got one, and I got on board. But, you know, they could have better music on it. Really. Having fun with the little thingies. Pacific is still in the process of being transformed himself. This week has gone well with my routes. Oh, I saw a good one in traffic today. I have to tell you about this one. Stupid move. I'm in the left lane. There's cars behind me. Busy traffic. Oncoming traffic behind me. Some guy in one of those toaster cars comes roaring out from behind me, goes across the intersection, doesn't even clear the intersection. It's my turn to turn left. I start to go. He whips a U-ey so that he can make a right going the way I'm going left. I laid on the horn. Some little Mexican guy, and gives me that stupid look, and I thought, yeah. And I didn't flip him off. I didn't do that. And I thought, it just amazes me. He would have been totally at fault. Totally at fault. He went in the straight lane. to go straight east and whip to Huey that fast. And I thought, and then he gets on the freeway and cuts off a semi and cuts off and jumps 3 lanes of rush hour traffic. And I said, God, could you please, for the love of God, tell me why it is that that guy didn't get hit? I mean, if I were to do something like that, I know I would get hit. Because you know what? Here, let me do this. God's got me on a choke chain, man. You ever notice how he gives some people a long leash? And even Pacific has to say, even these unbelievers that are running around going, ha 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 ha, I do whatever I want, they're on a long leash. But do you guys remember when I told you this story? You know, I've been in yards where they have a dog on this long tether, and that dog sees somebody walking by the property, and the dog goes, whoa, 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 and starts barking. Running for all his might, gets to the end of that, jerks back his neck, and ouch. So I said, God, thank you for putting me on a choke chain, because that hurts a lot less than running to the end of that thing and strangulating myself. You think you've seen it all in traffic, and then you see that, and it's like the depths that people will go out of their extreme selfishness, extreme impatience, endangering everybody, including themselves, just to get a nanosecond ahead of everybody else. And I sit here and I see this all day long. And I think, and America thinks they're well adjusted. Okay. Next issue, a viewer wrote me and said, I think you're slipping when you say breaking traffic laws is a sin. No, I'm not slipping at all. Ride with me for a day. I find that a lot of Americans don't even like the word sin anymore. And on the one extreme, they say homosexuality is not a sin, and they don't like to be told that's a sin. But let me say something. When the Bible says to submit to the governing authorities and we don't, part of submitting to the governing authorities is obeying the laws that are written as we know them. You know, here in Colorado, you read a Colorado driver's manual before you can get your driver's license, and you have to pass the test. That book is not suggestions, those are laws. Now, I realize that the traffic laws are not the commands of God yet. When God tells us to submit to the governing authorities and we get in our car and do what we want, it is rebellion. Therefore, it is sin. It's funny, but the Bible says that the sin of rebellion is as witchcraft. I find that interesting. And if we're all honest, we have rebellion in us. And God, when He saves us, is in the process of rooting that out of us. But I see in America, I see people are rebellious, men and women, no respecter of sexes, income levels, or ethnicities. People don't want to follow the rules. And the reason is it goes back to, I don't want to follow that rule. I'm in a hurry. Rebellion. So yes, breaking the traffic laws is a sin because it's rooted in selfishness. It's rooted in you saying that you are greater than the law and you can do what you want, which is rooted in rebellion, which is rooted in that I don't care if you got Christian bumper stickers or not. It is a violation of an ordinance. And God has made it very clear that when we violate His ordinances, there will be consequences for it. Well, I didn't get any traffic tickets. He will bring all that into account if you're not a Christian. Trust me. And for Christians, too, that don't confess their sins and get a hold of some of those things, God will hold them accountable for that. It says we will be judged for things done in the body, deeds good, done in the body, good or bad. And we will all suffer loss or gain reward. I think some of us will suffer loss on the one hand and gain rewards on the other. So that begs the question. Somebody would say, well, we have a corrupt government, so should I pay my taxes? Yes, we should. You know, we can talk about Obama till the cows come home, but let me give you all something to think about. Caesar was worse than Obama. Nero makes Obama look like a preschool teacher. Do your study on Nero, folks. He used Christians as human torches to light his garden. Can you imagine that? Him having his ladies and dinner guests. Oh, let's go through the garden. Isn't that a lovely smell, burning flesh? Disgusting. Obama hasn't gone that far crazy yet. Jesus says, give to Caesar's what is Caesar's, give to God's what is God's. I know Christians in different places I've lived, well, I don't pay my taxes because they're not properly using it. We don't have an option to determine that. That's part of rebellion too. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday that I work with. He's a Christian man, Hispanic Christian man, very committed to God, and I've enjoyed conversations while we're waiting for our little ones to come out of one of the schools. And he said to me that he was talking about, we were talking about debt. And I just went forward and I thought, I'm going to see where he stands on this. I said, I don't believe Christians should be getting mortgages. And he looked at me and said, that's right, brother. I said, the Bible says, give us this day our daily bread. And I said, in America, we have changed all of that. And do you know why? Because the world system says you got to have credit, got to take out a mortgage, got to build up equity. Where in the Bible does it say we have a right to home ownership? Now, I'm all for home ownership. I am all for it. I think that if people can buy a home, it's good because they can take pride in their place and have a place to call their own. One caveat, I don't believe that Christians should get into debt. I think we should live our life and trust in God and let Him provide. And if He wants us to have a house, He can do it. Oh, come on, Pacific, you're off your rocker. I didn't say my views were popular. I was married. I inherited a house that I never knew we would get, and $250,000 to refurbish it. No, I didn't spend that much on the remodel. $60,000 I spent on the remodel of the house. New roof, new siding, new windows, new flooring, two gas fireplaces, and a lot of woodwork and stuff that I personally put into it, paint, everything. I really believe that when we trust God, we will see His hand move. And I know a lot of people want to dispute that, but I have seen His hand, and if He wants Pacific to have a house, He can make it happen without a debt, without a mortgage. I told you all the story of a man and his wife that I met in, was it Marshall, Minnesota? It was on a not a field trip, but a debate trip, hours away from Hibbing, cold winter day, and what was the name of that big lake it was on? It was huge, frozen. It looked like the Arctic. I was sitting on top of the hill looking down. You could see for miles across this ice, and it was like, wow, that's cool. I'd like to go walk in that. Talked to this elderly man from a place called Pequot Lakes. I thought, there's a weird Minnesota name. When I went on trips, I was usually by myself, the only bus from my town, and I would meet up with other drivers and just chew the fat with other Minnesotans. And one thing I did not say in my video about Minnesota Nice, I did meet a lot of nice bus drivers from different towns in Minnesota that were really down to earth, men and women to talk to. And that was a fun thing for me, talking about bus stuff and trips we've done and what it's like in your town. And the man told me a story that he drove a coach bus out of Bemidji, Minnesota. Or wait a minute, was it Brainerd? Brainerd or Bemidji, one of them. True story. He said he had picked up this elderly woman on his coach every once a week. She'd go to the casino. And one night, he went to drop her off, and she said to him, I wrote your name into my will. And he thought it was a joke. He says, why, thank you, thank you. And a week later, she gets on and she hands him some papers. She goes, I need you to sign all this stuff. He opens the package and says, wait a minute, what is this? She goes, you thought I was joking. My sons are spoiled brats. They've never learned respect, and I'm not leaving anything to them. They're adults, and they've messed up their life, and I don't want them to have my fortunes. I'm giving everything to you. You and your wife can have it. Just put me in a good nursing home, and set aside some funds for that, and you take the rest. I looked at this guy, I said, are you serious? And he says, Pacific, the Lord provides. And he said, I'm here to tell you, if he wants you to have something, he can arrange any way he wants to get it. An unbelieving lady that I'm just driving the bus because he says, I don't believe in gambling at all, but he said, part of my job was to drive. I drove the coaches for trips, and one of those trips every once a week was going to the casinos. I said, that is amazing. The Bible says that he takes the wealth from the unrighteous and gives it to the righteous, and I thought, that's true. It's time for me to start encouraging my viewers and start doing some more faith-centered stuff. I want to make a change and start taking us away from all this. I want to make little points here and there about feminism and stuff, but I want the focus to shift. I actually had a crazy thought today, and I thought, I'd have to edit it heavily. I really wish that I had with me my journal that I wrote. I left it in Washington in storage with my uncle. 2-week journal. My first trip to Hong Kong and the Philippines. I thought, you know what? I need to read that to my viewers. It's in my words from when I was there, writing it there in Hong Kong and in the Philippines. I wrote in my journal today, the first time in months. I thought I need a journal again, and I need to get back into some of my good reading. And I apologize for not making videos with the frequency. Part of that has come because I can't do the 3-hour ones all the time. And I thought, I don't need to. They can be 20 minutes, they can be 45 minutes. I think that what we need to do is do more soundbite stuff to keep people into this, and I'm sorry, they're not going to be novels all the time. I still can't believe they can't find anything on that airplane. That just blows my mind. Oh, here's something interesting. Sweeping my bus a few days ago, and I found this little thing on the floor. And I looked closer, and it says, where is it here? It's a signature that I can't read, and it says Tiffany and Company. Silver. It's part of some necklace or whatever, and I thought, junior high kids tear up so much stuff, And I find the weirdest things on the bus. I found amulets and all kinds of things. Nobody claims it. And what they're doing is they've torn something apart and they throw the piece on the floor or they drops on the seat or whatever. But I thought, I just made myself another cool necklace, man. Yeah. Oh, look at that. A messenger bird. Isn't that funny? What is this one? Oh, we don't want to do that. That puts us on a different page. I apologize for all the yawning. I need to get to sleep pretty soon. But you know what? I wish every one of my videos could do this to you. Total wow. Oh well. Sometimes I'm just all wet, man. Just all wet. Aren't these great? I was talking to this lady today. She knows about my channel, the one that we went to lunch together. And I liked her answer. She said, one of my friends said, you gotta watch it. She said, I don't want to. She said, I'd rather have personal interaction with him and get to know him that way. Wow. You know, that made my day, and it made me think of something, viewers. Isn't that what we all want? Is personal interaction? And this is what she said to me. She goes, I really don't want to interact with you, Pacific, through YouTube. And it's true. She knows I'm well adjusted. But some people can watch my videos and come away with a very disturbed, wow, this guy's a mess. But it's funny, something's happening. Some people that haven't been so nice at work are suddenly being kinder to me. And I'm like, I've been there, and they're starting to get used to the fact that this different guy is there and greeting me and saying hello, and I'm like, well, that's a plus. Yeah, I wonder sometimes, what is the future for me? You know, I like driving the bus. But then there's some days you just get tired of all the baloney out there. That route change was a good thing. It's funny, sometimes just getting in different traffic patterns, things go better too. I notice some of the different areas I go onto, I have less people running my stop sign. It's like, well, this is encouraging. But I had a woman today. Oh, I got to write that up when I get to work tomorrow. I had a woman in a Beamer. Kids are getting out of the car to cross the street with my stop sign out. She comes rolling through. I lay on the horn. She looks at me and just sails right through it. Oh, I'm in a Beamer. I don't have to stop for a school bus. People just amaze me. Just amaze me. And there was a cop just in that neighborhood when I was on another street. I'm like, oh, I wish he'd have seen that. That would have been delightful. I'm going to cut this short. Just wanted to share some things with you. I'm disappointed in my friend. Sometimes Pacific doesn't know everybody as well as he thinks, and I cut the conversation short. I said, I'm disappointed in you. I said, if you fall in love with somebody, that's fine, but I said, to go take some dude you have no interest in, you are good looking, you're young, and you're going to settle for somebody. I said, I don't mean to be rude, but the reason he's online, and I want to say something, viewers, because it is time for me to say this. I say that I would rather date some of these women overseas sometimes, and I mean that. But I also know another reality. There's some men who have let themselves go physically, that don't take good care of their bodies and their physique, and they've got money, and they're looking overseas because they know nobody over here is interested in them. I know I can get a date here in Denver. Will it be a real winner? Nah. By the way, the friend that I made in Pueblo, Colorado, she called me and said that she moved to North Carolina to be with her folks. She said, I just didn't feel that the people in Colorado were that friendly. She was from Boston. And she shared with me a story. I had visited her last summer. Good friend. She dated a guy, moved in with him, and lent him $1,500, which he never paid back. And I said, what made you do that? I said, I stayed in your place. I didn't violate you. I was trustworthy. She goes, when I first saw you get out of your truck and we met for the first time, she said, I knew that we were going to have a fun week together. She said, when I talked to you on Skype, a white woman who trusted me, we talked on the phone. We talked on Skype once. And last summer I went down and stayed 4 days with her. and I think of all these women and all their hang-ups and all their fearfulness. Sadly, she got involved with a guy for the last umpteen months since I was there last summer, and he turned out to be a real control freak loser. I said, I am so sorry to hear that. She goes, I like you, Pacific, because you're such a free spirit, and I enjoyed your company, and it was so nice to have you in my home and know that I could trust you. I said, I never would have asked you to lend me $1,500, ever. So, in fairness, guys, there's a lot of women in America that have just been pooped on by American males. And I can understand why some of them get a bit of an attitude and get very, very, very upset. It becomes more personal when it's a woman I know and I trust, and I hear this and I go, I know she's not just blaming males, because I haven't gotten that from her. Isn't it sad how broken life is? Isn't it sad how broken everybody is today? And I said, we really need to look for those good people, those nice, kind people, those people that help us move up, not drag us down. I noticed something. A lot of kids, teens, won't say hi because they're just rude, but the more consistently I am at it, some of them are warming up and saying, thank you, mister, have a good evening too. A viewer of mine in the southern states said, could you talk about random acts of kindness? I actually show random acts of kindness all day long by not writing up a student saying, you know what, you tried to trip me, sit up front. By the way, that girl is very sweet to me now. I looked at her today. I said, how are you, ma'am? She goes, I'm very good. How are you? I said, good, thank you. She was sincere. She'll never trip me again. I let people in traffic, even SUVs. It feels good to be kind. It's hard when you got so many butts. And I want to talk about one of my viewers in Tennessee. Sent me a text today saying, oh my gosh. She's saying, I feel like I'm on another planet. I go into the store and people say, how are you today? And I like your car. And she said, they're very friendly here. And I'm thinking, maybe I need to move to Tennessee. I have more viewers tell me that some of the southern places still have some kindness, politeness, and even feminine women. You never know. Random acts of kindness. Do my viewers employ those? When you see somebody with their turn signal on, do you speed up and block them, or do you let them in? I'm amazed how many people, when you're coming off an on-ramp, off-ramp onto a road, and the light turns red and the cars keep coming and nobody will let you in. It's like, you can't just let me move over and then you go, and then the next car lets somebody in, and then he go. No. So when somebody does that for me, I always put my hand all the way out the window and say thank you. Because I really am honored when somebody is kind enough to let me in. And I want to acknowledge it so that they won't stop being kind. I'll tell you what, viewers, traffic is the test of everything that's inside a man or a woman. And most people fail. And I find that if I use traffic and students as my classroom and allow it to teach me, that I might just become a far better person. It's not about throwing my weight around and talking with a loud voice and go, oh, I got my bus whipped into shape. It's about saying, God, I'm nothing. Work through me. And we talked, some of us drivers today, and I came to the conclusion that if these kids know that you really care about them, generally they'll respond to that. My kids on one of my K through 8 schools on the bus I just left, I didn't have a chance to tell them because I didn't know I got the route. I did that route in the morning, came back, was told I had the route. I wasn't back on that route the next day. The kids yelled at the substitute bus driver, female, and said, "We don't want you. Where's Pacific? Where's Pacific?" She came back and said, "Wow, those kids are really mad that you're gone." Most of them were black students. Do you know how much that touched me? Made me realize, wow. And I felt so bad. I wanted to go to the school and meet them all and say, "I am so sorry. Here's what happened. I don't want you to think I left you guys." And that's the problem with life. Things are so transit. Bus drivers bid on different routes, and things change, and neighborhoods change, and people come and go, and there's no community. Little boy get on my bus one day crying. He's a 4-year-old, very afraid. And I was like, uh-oh, and I got down, all the way crouched down, and I said, "It's okay, buddy, come on," as the teacher's bringing him up the steps. I said, "It's okay, you're fine." Once I seat belted him in the little child seat, started rolling, then he started smiling, and I spoke to him in Spanish, and "¿Qué pasó?" And he's smiling and laughing. Get to his address. Very rough and tough, macho-looking father comes out. I said hello, and he ignored me, and then I said hola in Spanish, and he said hi in English. The last couple of days, I bring this kid home. As soon as I get him out of the seatbelt, he sometimes has been falling asleep, fell asleep on the ride today. And the minute he sees him, he starts crying. And not to cry like I missed you, but fear. So I reported it. I said, "I don't know what's going on, but I made a mental note of this, and I reported it to my supervisor." These are people I'm hauling, even these junior high kids, some of which are very rude and messed up. And I'm telling you, can I admit to you, my viewers, I don't know how to deal with some of those kids. So my philosophy has changed. I want to focus on being the best driver I can. Junior high kids got on this afternoon. They said, "Wow, mister, your bus is so clean." Same bus they had 2 weeks ago. The thing was a trash can on wheels. I washed the outside, scrubbed it with the scrub brush, ran through the bus wash twice, cleaned the inside of it out, and the kids are noticing. Man, this guy takes pride in this. I give him a safe, smooth, efficient ride. I greet every one of them. "How you guys doing today? How was school?" And there's some girls who won't say 2 words, but most of them, I'm all right, I'm all right. One kid played his boombox. I didn't say anything. I thought that my radio doesn't work, so he played the music that they all like. I thought I'm cool with that. They sat down. There was hardly any trash on the floor, and I thought, wow, nobody needs to be yelling and screaming on this bus. So Pacific is learning. Wow, education. I started thinking about a lot of teachers need to be taught. A lot of leaders need to learn how to lead. And something's been hitting me more and more, and I haven't mastered this, viewers, but it's hitting me more and more. Pacific, start using this traffic as your classroom instead of getting angry. Be the best driver you can be, and know that times are going to get worse, and be the best defensive, proactive driver you can be. Today I was going down the road, and I see this brand new Dodge. I'm right approaching. I've got the right of way. I'm on a street, and I'm watching, and I see this truck nose come flying out of the alley. I hit the brakes. I laid on the horn, and he pulled halfway out in front of me. And it was an old man, not even looking. He punched it, went through that alley, slammed on the brakes, and because I was watching, you know, I stopped before I got to him, and I looked at him and I just went like this, and I rolled forward. I can't tell you how many times, even when I took my friend to lunch today, we're going and some car starts blowing right past the stop sign. I'm already hitting the brakes as I'm approaching that intersection. I said, man, you just can't tell what these people are going to do. She goes, nope. I said, that's why you got to be defensive, defensive, defensive. I'm trying to let all this be a teacher to me because I'm learning something. When I sit down at the university every day for my midday routes to pick up high schools, by the way, there's 50,000 kids there on a given day. That's what I was told. That's the size of Montana towns. And it hit me. There's 50,000 kids getting an education. I watch them all drive when they leave. I watch the walk sign go off and they're stepping out in front of traffic. And I'm going, boy, they're really not learning anything. They're not learning how to be better drivers. They're not learning how to obey the signs and have respect for traffic laws, that other vehicles have the right of way to go through that green light. They don't. And that's why I say I can be smarter than any university professor if I just allow my world to teach me to become better. It's kind of a neat feeling. Anyways, I'm going to close with this, viewers. I hope you all had fun, because I did, and I've got a big oh yeah. And on that note, we'll keep coming up with better ideas, way better ideas, even more ideas for better videos. Anyways, this is Pacific signing off. You know what? Let me see if I can do something. What is this one? What is this one? Here, I'll leave you with this. How about it? We'll just end like that. Totally psychedelic, man. This is Pacific signing off. Bye-bye.